Hello, fellow pilgrims and stalwarts. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Frostwardens, episode 79, Faith in Our Founding Factions. I think now is a good time as any to do a voting session. But here it is. The stalwarts demand more hospital beds and vital monitors for the hospital, basically outfitting the hospital with all the modern technology. And the pilgrims want manual labor to become exalted, meaning that doing the manual labor tasks will make them even happier. Have you vote between those two? And for those that are unwilling or unable to read, the way to participate is essentially you self-assign a faction, you vote only in line with that faction. You don't cross party lines, because that's not what you do in this series. And this is voting session number 37, taking place the 11th of fall, year 7. All right, I think we have a result. So the result of this poll is that our pilgrims are now oppressed. They have a really big negative morale, having lost essentially 5 of the last voting sessions. The stalwarts are less unhappy, and they have been awarded a proper hospital. So we are going to be building sleep, accelerator, and proper hospital. Also, I suspect that there was some party line crossing. So I do hope that you guys actually read the details and participate correctly, because the balance of the series gets thrown out if you don't. Prime Army, prepare a while. Group number 1 has some sniper rifles, but really no weapons of note. Group number 2 does have a doomsday launcher. In terms of their insulation, they're going to freeze to death. I don't think we're going to need to do actually much defending here. It looks like a whole lot of them are going to succumb to the ambient temperature. It's already negative 81. So, yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. Close pilgrims and close stalwarts. And I'm going to update the close pilgrims and stalwart zone. Well, there's really not a good reason for them to go out here, though. Now that I think about it. I could have them locked into... You know what? I'm actually going to lock them into behind the walls. But while I wait for the attackers to attack, I'm going to update the zoning. Be drawn more carefully. I had broad stroke painted over the Eclipse farm when we were building the Eclipse farm, but now that it's actually built, we don't really need to be granted access around it. Alright, that zone looks pretty good. Let's do the Pilgrim one. My strategy for this specific raid is going to be just let Mother Nature murder them. I don't really think I need to get all that involved. So the close stalwarts Also should not be going near the burn pile, true. Alright, good enough. Behind the walls also could include these new sections here. I hadn't updated it in a while. I don't know why they would need to go down here, but technically this is behind the wall, so I'll allow that section. Again, technically this is also behind the wall, so I'll allow that section. And here as well. Okay. Zoning looks good. They're beginning their assault. And what we can do is we can use our new flip toggles to thwart their approach. So taking a quick look at their hypothermia levels. Yeah, like all of them are hypothermic. I know I didn't do like a very careful survey. I only looked at a few, but looking at a few gives you a pretty good gauge. Oh yeah, they're already dying. Hey Fishpick, you want to like solo this? I bet Fishpick can be the only one to manage this raid. Because all I would need to do for that is to essentially waste their time. Yeah, so watch this. Fishpick's going to become valid target. So now he's the only valid target in the base. They're all going to be running to him, and he can just like run them around. He's a shield bout, so it's not much of a threat. He's just toying with them. Maybe he wants to actually get a kill or two in. And as long as he doesn't get overly hypothermic, he'll be fine. As you can see, they're already dropping like flies. Although, getting punched in the head's not very nice. Is the one with the Doomsday launcher already gone? They're attacking random walls because for a very brief period of time they didn't have a valid target. I don't think this is a really big deal. I'm not sure where the Doomer went. Oh, maybe he dropped way before. Smoke launcher, cutlass. No, I don't know where he is. One of these bodies? I thought I already checked those bodies. No. Oh yeah, there he is. All right, Doom's already out of play. They did punch some holes in, which are going to be annoying holes. This hole in particular. So, having him solo was maybe not the best idea, but still, why not? Let's muster. I think enough of them are dropping now that this is kind of moot. They're gonna die off without me having to do very much. Alright. One group is fleeing. And there is the second group that is uncoming through the gap in our walls. Fortunately for him, we are quite ready. And now second group is fleeing. So there's a few holes in the walls, but and one missing light bulb. I could have taken it a little bit more seriously, but it really wasn't much of a challenge. Ambient temperature definitely did almost all the work. I'm not, at the moment, really looking for any new recruits. What faction are they from? Prime Army? So Prime Army is, of course, not the army of scavengers, which could potentially become neutral, so there's no point in taking prisoners unless we want to actually capture them, and I don't, so we won't. So Madsen got Power Clawed. I didn't realize one of their attackers had Power Claws. That's gross. Alright, back to zoning. So close... Oop, you're pilgrims. Close pilgrims. Close stalwarts. And we're done. Oh my lord, I did not realize there was that much iron on the ground up there. Would a power surge count as fuel burn? Not as far as I could tell. We tried 2 streams ago to change the fuel burn rate to no avail. Ramping up. We did overdrives and power surges and maxed out fuel consumption, and like nothing really affected the fuel rate. So I think it's safe to say that no, it really doesn't matter. Once it stops snowing, I can also clean up some of the corpses. Oh, inspired taming. I haven't seen a single animal, but I'm so glad that we got inspired to tame one, if and when we find one. Actually, that's not true. I found some pinnipeds. I found some seals, but only as a manhunters defending a an arc site. That's a really bad place for rice. Propping doors open. Oh, masterwork pew. So the improved version of the council hall's almost done. The moisture pumps still have some time left to expand, so there's not much on that front to manage. And then the project after that, of course, is the sleep accelerator project. So I'm going to unforbid these sleep accelerators because there's no steel or components being used in this project anymore, and start building those sleep accelerators to fulfill the previous the previous voting session. And then after that voting session, of course, it will be a matter of attending to the hospital. Looks like the bedrooms, I mean, no one's going to get frostbite in them, but they're not exactly warm. Might want another heater in them. To make them, like, properly warm, we need way more than one more heater, I realize. We're not trying to make them, like, cozy. It's not really the goal. So the Union Hall got more pews. It didn't really get more impressive, exactly, because that wasn't the goal. It's just, if we have ritual opportunities, like the Pilgrim Festival, which is coming in just 7 hours, we're going to need more pews. So I don't think it's unreasonable just to craft a few pews. But the Stalwart Hall is obviously superior. All right, there we go. The 2 halls are upgraded. So now it's the big push for the sleep accelerators, because the Stalwarts won that a while back. And then after that, in order to fulfill the hospital requirement, I don't believe we need much expansion here, but I probably do want to put this this multi-analyzer somewhere different, because it's like physically in the way where it is now. So the hospital will expand, but not by a whole lot. The voted goal was to add hospital beds and vitals monitors, not to actually make it all that bigger. So most of the scope of this project is not, you know, to enlarge in it, per se. Dog treats. Sure thing. We've got 1, 2, 3 of the sleep accelerators so far. We ran out of components, so we're just waiting on the component crafting. Then we'll get the other ones. And we're definitely encroaching on the space that was originally earmarked for the Ark, but I don't really want to uproot our entire lab and hospital. That would be kind of a big deal. So this is what it will look like once I have the material. So make a pretty good use of the space, I think. What about the remove roof over the new area? What do you mean? I don't think there's any roofing issues anywhere. I mean, there's some, like, walls here or there that probably need a roof. Oh, yeah, actually, this area needs a new roof. That's probably one of the heating problems that we were running into. It's a good call on that front. The roof I'm building over here is unnecessary. It's just cosmetic. But I'll do it anyway. I like how full roofs cast shadows. Oh, they want to give us a dribble launcher. I mean, that's nice, but going anywhere is kind of a problem when it's negative 106 out, so I think not. Oh, come on, winner. Who started this? Zuzin flagrantly disrespected Winter's relationship status. So Winter and Wishbringer. So apparently Zuzin doesn't like Wishbringer? Maybe it was like, hey, you shouldn't be friendly with people of the opposite party. I'm not really sure. But Zuzin is straight up out as a result. That's a little rough. Let's see. Madsen, you are the doctor for your faction, so how about you rescue Zuzin and tend her? The Pilgrims are definitely a rough bunch. Picking an open fight with them is, like, probably not a good idea, but she did it anyway. Oh, and then Madsen was like, doctoring you? Yeah, I think not. And just, like, stopped in the middle of it. Get back to it. Also, JD, you did that as well. What is going on with our doctors not doing their job? I like how she's what the hell? Oh, right, she's a masochist. You know what? Maybe she wanted to lose the social fight, in hindsight. She's a bit... Yeah, I mean, that makes a bit of sense. Oh, I don't have a valid path into the base because of the door flip-flopping of, fish pick luring them in, so I gotta open that back up. Component crafting is coming, but it's pretty slow. One of the reasons it's slow is it's really cold in this room. Even with the heaters. I don't know if it's worth the steel and power to get it warm, though. I have a feeling it probably isn't. Our cut stone is actually pretty low. I'm relatively surprised by that. So we'll need 10 more components for the sleep accelerators, or rather 7 total, because we already have some crafted. And then once they're done, we'll be in a pretty good position to start embarking on the hospital, but then again, it's more components and more steel. Everything is, it ultimately comes down to just like everything needs steel. That is the TLDR. Hey Axios, would you do me a very solid? We have a whole bunch of dead bodies out here. I would like you to clean them up. And the ambient temperatures are getting cold enough that those that are putting the roof on the farm are becoming hypothermic, and it is a bit of a health concern, so I'm going to keep an eye on that so that we don't have anyone succumb to the hypothermia, because it is almost winter and it is freakishly cold out. Would more insulation help? Yeah, I mean, realistically, if I double walled all the mining tunnels, it could. The thing is, I don't have the stone for that. And even if I immediately started to deep drill for the stone for that, it would take like a year of deep drilling stone for a project of that scope to be finished. And by the time it's finished, it's very possible that the mining tunnels are no longer in use because we do exhaust resources eventually. So there is absolutely a case of this isn't worth doing because by the time it's done, the project is no longer necessary. So whenever I approach projects like that, I think about, does this project make sense? And in a lot of cases, no, it doesn't. So trying to keep the base perfectly insulated or perfectly anything, you know, I find like ideal builds that don't take resource scarcity, manpower, and time as major factors are foolish. They're vanity projects at that point. And there's not a lot of room for vanity projects when you live in negative 110 temperatures, I would say. Alright, what dead do we have left? We have the few that fell here. It's going to actually be really challenging to get to them in the winter because of how cold it is. But I'll try. Axios probably needs a bit of a break though, so I'm going to have him go swap his weapons out. I could double road the wall to the farm. Yeah, the farm is not likely to go anywhere, for sure. I only have the stone for maybe like a third of that project though. Which again, therein lies the problem of resource scarcity. That, and it isn't my voted priority. No one voted on it. The session, I already owe other things in the sessions. So, for a lot of different reasons, it's something that I will not consider. I can get to these bodies. I think there's probably only like 4 dead now. Oh, 5. That's not so bad. You can actually see when I burn the bodies here. Which is why I do it. For those that don't know, if you bury bodies and not burn them, the valuables contained on the corpses still add to your colony value. So cremation or Molotoving is absolutely a better solution as a result, because if you don't, you end up driving up your colony value even though it's valuables you do not use. It's not to say that like I'm a firm believer in min-maxing for colony value, because at some point The way raids and raid points work is like, depending on a whole bunch of factors, it generates raid points for your colony. And once you hit max raid points, a little bit nudging here or there for like colony wealth won't really matter all that much, because you're already at like basically max raid size, so reducing your colony value isn't really making the game any easier. Uh-oh. And on top of that, maxing colony value, or min-maxing colony value also looks pretty stupid when done to an illogical extreme, where like you punch everything and break everything. It's just, it's not a practice I like to put in use. Axios is standing here as a door guard. Yeah, you can see why trying to clear these corpses midwinter was dangerous. JD could have lost a toe. Or a thumb, in this case. Go to the farm. And Axios will heal you. So the last accelerator is done. We have fulfilled that the voting requirement. Building a proper hospital is the next task, which is going to take an immense amount of steel and components that we don't have. So that's 15 components for the beds alone, and then another 6. So 21 total components for the hospital, plus 460 steel on top of it. So not a cheap project at all. I have a lot of coal, so I'm going to turn off the coal drill and focus on the iron. Taking a look at the Tinctoria, it's almost past the halfway mark, which is the threshold for like early harvest. So I'll just keep an eye on it, see if it actually grows enough to be usable. Pilgrim Festival. Yeah. The thing is it too cold in here? Yeah. Alright. Although we didn't vote specifically on this, I think it's safe to say it's, and also reasonable to do, that we are going to heat the ritual rooms at least a little bit to make them usable, because an unusable ritual room is worthless to our colony. So to that end, I'm going to put a temporary pause on the hospital just to get some heaters in here. Oh, you know what? So right now their zoning is close Stalwart and Pilgrim, but close Stalwart and Pilgrim does not include this southern iron mine, which is why we were not getting the amount of steel that I thought we would. Glad I caught that. We are at 853 out of 1,000 chem fuel burned for next upgrade. Oh, wait, what? I didn't realize we had lost these doors. Ah, okay. One of the reasons why we have hypothermia in the northern tunnels is the northern tunnels are exposed to the outdoor temperature, which is not great. So I gotta fix that. Agent Venom, thank you for the resub. And Uko too, I missed that. Sorry. Alright, this will help immensely, because, yeah, so one of the fleeing enemies must have, like... I don't know how they got in here, honestly. They must have been trying to breach in here and then fled out that way, or something. Because there wasn't an entry point that they busted in. Or maybe they were fleeing through here and then died. I'm not entirely sure. But either way, we'll fix that. Okay, the ritual rooms are now heated enough that we can continue with the hospital. So I'll build the left side of the hospital first, and then I'll build the other side. So that we at least get like a vitals monitor and a extra hospital bed. And I'll try to have Cardinal be the one to build the hospital bed so it's the highest quality possible. Given RNG and the like. X-Gamer, thank you for the resub too. In the morning, we'll do the Pilgrim Festival. Rather than wake everyone at 1 in the morning, I don't think that's all that nice to do. And in about 2 days, the moisture pumps will expand and I'll be able to actually sort of finish the defensive project. Or not really finish, because these moisture pumps need to expand like 2 or 3 times to allot the necessary room for better defenses, but at least we'll be pushing closer to the goal. So it looks like all of the steel got delivered to these construction projects, so we're just waiting on the components to be smithed. And it is morning, so Pilgrim Festival. We haven't had a good ritual yet. They've all been like sad. Oh god, that music. So I'm really hoping that we turn our record around of terrible festivals and get a good one. I'd like to look at it, but the more I look at it, the more horrible it sounds. Hey, it was fun! First fun festival ever. One for the record books, I think. And C to Keep, thank you for the cheer. I'm glad you liked the festival. I'm curious how hard it would be to heat up this room enough that the crafting speed isn't so negatively affected. I'll try to add one more heater and see. Oh, Fangface built a masterwork hospital bed? Wait, for real? At 11? Oh my god, I got lucky. I was not paying attention, but that is an amazing hospital bed for someone that should not be capable of such craftsmanship. I will take it. You must be really happy for the hospital or excited for the hospital? Yeah, it must be. I mean, that's like insanely high quality for an 11. I need to look at the charts, but it's probably like a 2% chance or something like that. I'll look it up. I am now too curious. Alright, at 11, the chance to get a masterwork is 0.76%. Now you can see why I was surprised. Because, yeah, that doesn't happen very often. You can build 100 of them and still not get one. Cheers! Man, the power needs for these sleep accelerators is really brutal. I mean, the stalwarts demand it, and our chem fuel charged arc can supply it, but it is absolutely a luxury. All right, there we go. We have 2 masterwork hospital beds with a vitals monitor in a sterile room. It really doesn't get that much better than that. Short of like legendary, which requires an inspiration. Hey, Wyland, thank you for the resub. So, we obviously, I'm going to make 4 total, but we're getting pretty close to that project, which is great. And in terms of fuel burned, we're 881 out of 1,000. So we're closing in on that threshold too. You're glad that we can coddle our villagers or our survivors, our Frostwardens? Yeah. I mean, finally we're in a position to be able to treat them nice-ish. Sweet, I guess. And the room here is like teeter-tottering on warm enough, as you can see. I think every time the door opens, it gets cold, but it's close to the temperature threshold to not have work slowdowns. Ah, poop. Cardinal made a good bed. Can you use the portrait mod for custom portraits? Don't know. You'll have to check that out yourself. What's wrong with a good bed? Well, so here's the big difference. The surgery success chance factor is 123 versus 135. So if you're doing a surgery where, like, you might die not getting it done, masterwork pads are considerably better. In terms of immunity gain, there's no difference. A hospital bed is a hospital bed. Immunity gain is the same. But in terms of surgeries, you're definitely going to want to do your surgeries on the nicest bed possible. Rest effectiveness for hospital beds don't really matter all that much, because if you're laid up in the hospital, you're probably not... your sleep recovery rate is really not a non-factor, I would suspect at that point. It's getting warm enough. It's staying warm enough in this room that it's actually not dropping to the threshold, which is good. And these moisture pumps are starting to expand. So I think, like, maybe 1 season of moisture pump expansion, and they should be expanded enough to offer the defensive improvements that we're looking for. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Frostwardens, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Frostwardens.